Alright mates, how's it going? In today's video, it's chapter 14 of The Last Guardian by Jeff Grubb. Khadgar and Garona do a lot of fleeing, walking, and some hiding in this chapter. Let's go! Khadgar and Garona made it several miles from the tower before the griffin started to misbehave. Only a single beast had answered Khadgar's summons, and it was not happy about having to carry a half-orc on its back. So there's a scoop for you. Griffins are racist. But anyway, the young apprentice had tried tilting the griffin in the direction of Stormwind, but it was now bucking beneath them, trying to turn around and head back to the mountains. What's wrong with it? Medivh's calling it back. Khadgar wrestled with the reins a little more, but 'twas time to admit defeat. So they landed, and the racist griffin immediately buggered off to return to the call of its master. Do you think Medivh will follow? I don't want to stick around and find out. Let's head to Stormwind. And so they did. They stumbled down a dirt track for most of the evening, heading in the general direction of Stormwind. The countryside was littered with smashed, overturned carts, houses burned to their foundations, clumps of newly hummocked earth that marked buried families. It was awful. The people have been thorough. They pride themselves on such matters. Pride in destruction. You wouldn't find any human army burning down everything in its path and killing animals without purpose. Garona nodded, sarcastically. It is the orc way. Don't leave anything standing that your foes could use against you. These are not resources. These are lives. This land was once green. Fields and forests. Now it's a wasteland. Look at it. Can there be any peace between humans and orcs? Garona said nothing, and the two of them then continued on in silence, until eventually they came across the shambles of an inn, and decided it was probably time to have a little bit of a sleep. Neither of them had any interest in sharing a room with each other though, so Khadgar slept in the wreckage of the common room, whilst Garona lay down in the kitchen. However, a few hours later, Khadgar was awakened by the growls of his own stomach. They'd fled the tower so quickly they hadn't exactly had time to pack provisions. He'd not eaten in over a day. So he picked himself up off the damp straw he was using as a bed, and went for a wander. How was he going to get someone like Garona into Stormwind, he thought. They should probably find her some kind of disguise or something. Did she even want to go to Stormwind? Now that she was free of the tower, maybe she was planning on going back to Gul'dan and the Stormreaver clan. Something then moved nearby, but Khadgar wasn't too bothered by the sound. Probably just Garona. She had to be pretty hungry too. In fact, maybe she'd found some food. So Khadgar headed towards the sound, but as he turned the corner, he found himself now standing with the edge of an axe levelled at his neck. What's that? Balls. That's not Garona. That's an orc. A real orc. So Khadgar slowly raised his hands, only to feel something heavy land on the back of his head, and then the world went black. Khadgar wasn't out long, although it had been long enough for a half-dozen other orcs to have now arrived. But as he stirred, one of the orcs turned towards him. What's your stuff? Where you hid it? I'm sorry, what? Your stuff. You got nothing. Where you hide it? No stuff. Lost it earlier. No stuff. Then you die. No! Khadgar turned to see Garona. Get out, half-breed. None of your business. You're killing my property. That makes it my business. Property? Who's you to have property? I am Garona half-orcan. I serve Gul'dan. Damage my property and you'll have to deal with him. Stormreavers. Weak clan. I'm just gonna... Down, slave! Speak when you're spoken to and not before. The lead orc took a step forward, but in one swift motion, Garona had her blade pointed right at his midsection, so he backed away again. He's mine! The orc looked at her, then at Khadgar, then back at Garona, then back at Khadgar, and then back to Garona again. Ain't nothing worth fighting for anyway, half-breed. And with that, the orc leader walked off, with his subordinates following. Alright, they're gone. You didn't have to hit me. You idiot of a pale skin. If I hadn't knocked you down, the orc leader would have killed you outright, and then turned on me because I couldn't keep you in line. Did you have to hit me that hard though? To convince them, yes. Not that I didn't enjoy it. A short time later, after Garona and Khadgar was certain the previous drama was well and truly over, they set out on the road again, heading for Stormwind. But at about midday, they came across the gang of orcs once again. Only this time, they were missing their heads and were kinda dead and stuff. Garona quickly moved from body to body, pulling salvageable gear from them, whilst Khadgar scanned the horizon. Are you gonna help me? In a moment. As soon as I know that whatever killed our friends is not still around. Khadgar then pointed out the hoof prints on the ground.
Cavalry. Human cavalry. So we're getting close at least. I've been thinking. Wonder how many human disasters start with that line. We're within range of Stormwind patrols. I don't think Medivh is following us, so maybe we should split up. Thought of that. And no, I don't think we should. No one's in control of this area, human or orc. You might walk 50 yards away and hit another patrol of my people, and I might get ambushed by yours. If we're together, there's a better chance of survival. One is the other's slave.
Prisoner.
What?
Humans don't take slaves.
Sure you do. You just have a different name for it. We're staying together.
And that's it?
Yeah. Well, there's one more thing.
And what's that?
We need to burn the bodies. It's the least we can do.
But the smoke will draw attention.
I know, but it's the right thing to do. If you found human soldiers killed in an ambush, wouldn't you want to bury them?
Fine. So the two of them got to work, and within an hour they'd stripped the bodies and set the remains ablaze. And then they set off again. They travelled for an entire day, passing even more countryside and shiz. However, at one point they did have to hole up inside a mostly intact farmhouse, whilst a small army of orcs marched by.
Idiots.
You what?
They couldn't be more exposed. This lot doesn't have an objective. They're just looking for a fight.
You don't think much of your people?
I don't think much of any people right now. The orcs disown me, the humans will kill me. And the only human I really trusted turned out to be a demon.
Well, there's me.
Ugh, yeah, there's you. But I really thought that Medivh was going to make a difference. But he's just another madman. Maybe that's all I'm good for, working for madmen. Maybe I'm just another pawn in the game.
Your role is whatever you choose it to be. Another day of walking passed, and the two of them entered an abandoned town. The buildings were a lot more whole than previous ones they'd seen, but still, the entire place was deserted. So Khadgar went ahead and broke into a nearby shop and came across some potatoes. He'd never been so happy to see potatoes. Khadgar's mind then raced about what the next step actually was. Could Medivh be reasoned with? Convinced to shut the portal? Or was it too late? At least they now knew of the portal. If the humans could locate it, they may be able to shut it. Cut the orcs' reinforcements from Draenor off. However, the apprentice was pulled from his thoughts by a commotion outside, and as he rushed out of the shop, he found a patrol of human footmen, and Garona, being restrained as a sergeant backhanded her across the face. "Where are the others? Leave her alone." The sergeant turned to see Khadgar approaching. "Who are you?" "This is a military matter, boy." "I'm Khadgar, apprentice to Medivh the Magus, friend and ally to your King Lane. I have business with him. Take us at once to Stormwind." "Oh yeah, of course. Sure you are. And I'm Lord Lothar. Medivh doesn't take apprentices, everyone knows that. And who's your sweetheart there then?" "She's my prisoner. I'm taking her to Stormwind for questioning." "Right. Well, boyo, we found your prisoner out here, armed, with you nowhere in sight. I'd say your prisoner escaped. Pity the orc would rather die than surrender." "Don't touch her." Khadgar then raised his hands, with flames dancing on his fingers. "You're flirting with your own death. You're making a mistake, sir." But the sergeant didn't give a shit. He turned to his men and barked his orders. "Take the orc. Kill her if she resists." The footmen stepped forward, and Khadgar, fighting back tears, unleashed his spell against the sergeant, causing him to howl and drop to the ground. "Now stop! Kill them! Kill them both! Hold!" A veritable army of horsemen then arrived out of nowhere, their leader donning full armour and a visored helm. "Sir, please, I'm the apprentice to Magus Medivh. Call off these men."
"I know who you are. Stand down. Keep the orc guarded, but let her go."
"I need to see Lord Lothar at once." The cavalry leader then lifted his helm, revealing himself to be Lord Lothar.
"Well then, lad, what is he?"
And we're leaving it there! 2 more chapters to go. And we'll be back at Karazhan in the next one, just in case you're worried this story is going to end really weirdly. As usual, links in the description for the book, my Patreon page, my Discord, all of that stuff. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that stuff. And all that's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!